Hello guys and welcome back to another episode. So today we're going to look on Discipline Priest, and it's going to be a PvE guide. So if you're going to play Discipline Priest as PvE, healing, dungeons, raids, or you're probably maybe looking into maining a new healer in Battle for Azeroth, well then I have this little guide for you, and let's go through it and see maybe if this healer is actually fitting you, or if you're new to this priest you'll get a how to basic play this spec. Or maybe you're already very good to it but just want to hear another person's understanding of the spec. So, the first thing we have to talk about is the stats. The stats that is most important for Discipline Priest is of course intellect. That means in this expansion here, intellect is very important, so your main stats is the most, you can say, most worth stat you can get. So I know in Legion some of your secondary stat could actually be better, but in Battle for Azeroth your main stat is the most important one, that in this case would be intellect. The next one would be haste. So first of all you want to stack intellect, haste, crit, mastery and vitality. So the reason for why you want haste is because your global cooldown will be smaller, and the damage over time you're also going to do is actually healing more. So that means if I cast Purge of the Wicked, for example, on 2 targets, the more haste I have, the more healing over time it's actually going to generate. And also the penance will be casted faster, your global cooldown for spamming shields will be faster, so everything, or the whole rotation you have as a disc priest will actually be better and more smoother. And of course also you will be doing more damage, as very important for disc priest, because the haste is helping you. So first of all, intellect, haste and crit. Crit of course helps you with every time you crit, of course every one that being healed will also be healed more. And because also you're putting so many dots on your targets, it will also increase the chance to your dots you actually be critting. Means more healing over time on your targets. Well, intellect, haste, crit and mastery. So mastery is okay for disc priestess, but again mastery is not that strong. It's just when you have atonement on anyone, your healing and absorption is increased on the target, and it's well, it's I mean it's a good one, but it's not high priority. Haste and crit is much more worth for Discipline Priest, but mastery is coming after that. The baddest stat you have is vitality, that increase your damage output and healing output, but haste and crit and mastery is much more worth than vitality. So intellect, haste, crit, mastery, vitality. Boom. So that was the stats. Let's go through the talents. And turn on some light. So the first talents up here is the first row here, level 15. So Twist of Fate is the prepared go-to. It's the default go-to talent for most situations. It's if you're going into a counter that is very strong, where you know people will actually go low, this one here is the recommended one you take. If you know that it's going to be a hard counter you're going into. It's both for dungeon and raids. It's really good because it really gives you a big boost if someone is going down under 35%. If you know it's going to be tank and spank and actually not that hard maybe, and you're not fearing people actually getting down or below 35%, Schisma is the best one because it increases your damage a lot on bosses. But Schisma is only really good if you are on a boss that is tank and spank. So if everyone is getting a lot of damage and dying, you probably would take Twist of Fate because it increases your healing and damage so much. After healing a target below 35%, you deal increased damage by 20. You deal 20% increased damage and increased healing for 10 seconds, and that's quite a lot. So Twist of Fate is best in the hard situations, and Schisma is better in, you can say, tank and spank. So if you go into heroic dungeon, normal dungeon, I would probably recommend this one here. But in hard, Mythic Plus and raids, I would probably say Twist of Fate is the best one. Castigation is not really in top 3, and we can say it's not in the top anymore. It's fire additional bolt, of course, that means 1 extra healing, 1 extra damage, but it's not worth at all. Twist of Fate and Schisma is so much better than Castigation that it's not considered. So Twist of Fate would be my default go-to in raid and dungeon, but Schisma would be the one I would use if it's just a tank and spank and you can actually, you're pretty sure that no one will die. So yeah, Twist of Fate. The next one here is actually kind of up to you. I would say Angelic Feather is the best one because you're giving increased boost to everyone in your raid. If the tank needs to run fast to anywhere, you can just give him a feather, or you can use a feather to yourself. You have 3 charges, so that means you can actually help 3 persons in your raid or dungeon to run around. Master Schisma is not really considered because you should not take that high damage as healer on that, so it's really important that your Shadowman is not dealing damage to itself. And Body and Soul, I mean, it's good for giving a fast increased speed to one target, but it has a cooldown behind the scene. You can see it only works every 6 seconds, and with Feather you can actually make someone run fast all the time. But again, Body of Soul also of course is more better in your passive playstyle, so you don't want to have another spell. You can take Body of Souls, and then you know every time you're going to shield someone, they will passively run faster. The next one down here, Power Word Solace, is the one that is the most popular, and I will also say myself that it's my favorite one, because if I have Atonement on myself, like now I use Power Word Shield on myself, then I get Atonement. If I then use, let's see here, Power Word Solace, it's a huge damage, and that means I will get a lot of healing. So instant cast you deal 4000 damage, and your normal smite deals 3000 damage, so that means it's a free instant damage boom you can use, and it will heal. Everyone has Atonement on it instantly with a quite okay big boost, burst you can say, and it also generates 1% of your mana, so it's not bad at all, it's really good. Your Mindbender is not, it's only good if you're really struggling on mana, because you already have Shadow Fiend that will help you damaging and heal everyone, because Shadow Fiend's damage is also healing you every second when it's heal everyone in your party. So Mindbender is not increasing the damage of your pet or anything, it only actually does that it generate more mana. But in this DPS aspect it actually bad, because with Shadow Fiend it's only there on Mindbender, it's only there for 12 seconds, and Shadow Fiend is 15 seconds. So it's a bit, I would say you're going to nerf yourself, so only take my Mindbender if you really need that mana. But else I would say Power Word Solace is much better over it. Shield Discipline is not really favoritized, because you want the extra damage for Power Word Solace, and it depends on how many you actually cast a shield on. I can see it has a potential in a raid where you cast shield on 20 people, but in a dungeon I would never see it has any potential over than Power Word Solace. Yeah. So, but keep in mind that Power Word Solace and Schisma, if you combine those two together, you can actually deal great damage, because Schisma is dealing a lot of damage, and it increases damage on your target for 40 seconds, 40% on 9 seconds. So if you use Schisma and Power Word Solace, it's a big boost damage. You can probably out DPS some of the damage on your team, but again then you will miss out on Twist of Fate that can really help you on high situations. So that's up to you if you want to have a really damage build, or if you maybe want to have a all-around feel that is helping you in all situations. That's up to you. The next one down here is, again, it's only making your fear have less cooldown, or your mind control better, or shining force. It's not really anything to do with PvE, maybe some of your movements, but that's up to you. The next one here, Sins of the Many and Contrition, is the one that people actually take. Shadow Convent is not used at all, so you will probably never see a Discipline Priest with it, so we're just going to ignore that because it's really outrated, you can say, so no one is playing with it. The default go-to in raid and dungeon will be Sins of the Many. Your damage is increased by up to 12, diminishing for each ally affected by your Atonement. So that means default you will actually heal, you will damage 12% more, but every time you use Atonement on anyone, it will decrease, 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 and decrease, and decrease. So of course, if you're on a raid and if you're using 2 times power with Radiance, that is giving, how many is it? It's 4 injured. The torments, of course, then you get up to 80 that has a torments on them, and then it's probably reducing the damage, but still it's still a big damage boost, maybe of 8 when you have top one up, and that's still a lot more damage increase passively over the whole fight. So the more damage as a disc priest, the more healing as a disc priest. Contrition is actually also quite cool if you feel like you need more direct output healing, because the more you have atonement on, every time you then use penance on yourself, it will heal everyone that has atonement for 600. So it's not that much, but again, if you think about it, if you have atonement on 10 people and you use contrition, it's 600, and then on 10 people, then it's actually quite a lot. So it can be worth, but default I would say Sins of the Many is the one I would take, but contrition is also fine. The next row here, normally I play with Purge of the Wicked because I feel it's a fun talent, but if you actually read around on the big web, it's not recommended at all, because if I remove it, you can see right now my Shadow Word Pain is dealing 5000 damage over 16 seconds, and this one here deals 7000 damage over 20 seconds. So the damage increase is not that big, because yes, the dot will be there for 20 seconds or 50 seconds, but you can see because of the extra additional 5 seconds, of course it will deal more damage. So the damage is not that big, and also of course it will get about 600 more damage on direct impact with Purge of the Wicked, but damage increase you get from Purge of the Wicked is not the same as if you use Divine Star or Halo, because you still have your Shadow Word Pain you can use that still deals a lot of damage, and you can top it with a Divine Star or Halo. So Halo is good for raids or groups where it's a lot of spread around, so you don't have them close to you. Divine Star is very good if you are going against a boss where everyone is grouped together, so you're going to stay in the same place. And Purge of the Wicked is the talent. It's the talent for people who don't want an additional spell in the rotation. Already now I feel like I have a lot of spells for Discipline Priest, so I will probably be one of the guys who would take Purge of the Wicked, because as you can see down here I have my rotation up to 7 and 8 and 9, and I don't really feel like I want to add additional spell into my rotation. So I will probably take Purge of the Wicked because it makes my rotation that much more smooth. But if you play what the pros say, you can say on the internet, they would say go with Divine Star if you have a grouped healing, Halo if it's a big spreaded group, and Purge of the Wicked is only for people who likes to have additional passives and not additional spells. So that's the fact. I love to play with Purge of the Wicked, but they're not recommending it, but I still like to use it, because it still deals that if you're good to dotting a lot of mobs, then it can be the best one. It's let's say there comes 7 mobs and you dot them all up, it can be good. But if you actually have the time for dotting up, because in a mythic dungeon you maybe don't have the time to actually dot them up before the tank is already on 20% health and need healing. So it really depends, and on a boss fight where you only have maybe one target you can use on, then Purge of the Wicked doesn't really do anything good. I can see that, because your dot is dealing so less damage, so if it's only one boss, it's like it's not worth at all. Then Halo is much better because it heals everyone in 30 yards for so much healing, and it also deals a lot of damage in AoE. So I can see Halo and Divine Star is really good and has potential, but if you like to, so I was saying slag like me, Purge of the Wicked is probably the one for you. Or if you're good to dealing a lot of damage, a lot of dots quick. I mean, you can easily click the tab, and you can see now I have 4 dots that is healing me quite a lot all the time. And again, the more haste you have, the lower is your global cooldown, and that means you can cast more spells and you can say, you know, every time I cast a spell I have to wait a second for the global cooldown, but the more haste I have, the global cooldown is also reduced. There we go. Yes, and the last row, the 100 row. So for dungeon mythics, it's really recommended that you use lenience. So everyone that has a torment on them will get reduced 3% damage. So for dungeons, it's really good, and you should stay with this one here. But in a raid, Evangelisme is the best one, because if you, let's say you're going to cast 2 in a row power with Radiance, then 8 people will probably have a torment on them. Then you use Evangelisme, and boom, instead of I think it's about 8 seconds it's give you a torment's power with Radiance, and then you use Evangelisme, and then everyone has a torment on for 15-16 seconds or something like that. And that's a lot on 8 people just instantly. I mean, you can also quickly shield some people, use it, and they will have Evangelisme on for some time, and you can just spam damage the boss, and you will heal a lot of people at one time. Evangelisme is not really recommended in a dungeon, because your power with Radiance is basically applying it to everyone. It applies it to the target and 4 per people around, so that means it's the whole party if they just stand close. And in a raid, it's not that easy to put it on all, so Evangelisme is helping you to keep it on for longer time on everyone. So Evangelisme for raid, lenience for dungeons, and Luminous Bearer. I can see the potential in it. It's absorbing the same as free power with shields, and you cast a shield on everyone in your group. So on a mythic boss where everyone is getting a lot of damage, or maybe in a raid, I can see the potential because it has so much range. And actually, oh, it's replacing power with barrier. I actually didn't see that. So right now we can cast power with barrier that reduces the damage by 70. I think it's only 70 because I have a talent. Yeah, okay, so 45. So at 35 normally it reduces all damage. So you can take this one here, and everyone in 40 yards get absorb shield. I can see the potential on a very high burst. It helps. So like first bots in Warcraft mana, it could be cool. But the 3% reduction in damage is, I would say it's so much more worth, because it's the whole dungeon. Everyone have 3% more reduced damage if they actually have a token on them. So I would say Lenience for dungeon, Evangelisme for raids, and Luminous Barrier would probably only be for a high burst section. But I would probably not play with it myself. So yeah, so that was the talents. So now you're probably wondering about how do I actually play Dvalin Priest, how do we play it, how would it work like, and Holy is much a stationary healing where you just stand, heal the person who needs health. But Dvalin Priest is actually, I think, the most active healer in the game. You actually have to deal damage all the time to keep up your healing, to keep up your dots, to keep up your torments. So let's say if I had a group here of persons and we're going to interact with these 4 mobs, the first thing I would probably do is quickly shield tank, so he gets the shield and he gets that torment. Then I would quickly dot all the mobs by tapping, dot dot dot, and now you can see every one of them has a debuff on them. And I will cast a shielding on the tank, so he has a torment. Hopefully my atonement and healing, or atonement and the healing of the damage of the mobs will be enough for actually holding him up. If it doesn't hold him up, I can either choose to damage the mobs, because if I have atonement on myself and every time I deal damage, 60% of all the healing or all the damage actually going to myself as healing. So I could actually use a dot on everyone, maybe use power with Radiance so everyone gets their torment, and then just spam damage, because then you make sure that everyone is getting healing all the time, and you will also help your team with actually damaging. So why not get a faster clear in a group? But it's very important, as I see, to keep out all your dots, and of course Purge of the Wicked is kind of helping you keeping up the dots, because it has much more longer duration than Shadow Word Pain. Besides that, you can of course also use Penance. Penance is your direct healing you can use on yourself, or actually use it on the tank or the mobs. You can even choose to attack with it and it heals you, boom boom boom, 3 times big heal, or you can actually use it directly on the tank and heal him. Of course it heals more than damage, so that means you can either heal the tank for 12,000 or damage 6,000, and remember the 6,000 damage will only be half of it that will go to the tank. So if the tank really needs healing now, use it on the tank instead. If the tank is on 70%, just use it on, give him a shield so he gets atonement, and just use it on the enemy so he gets the little healing. So it's really, this Discipline Priest is really up to what is happening right now. Do I have to heal them directly right now, or can I actually do my damage rotation so they just get some small healing over time? But the best thing is of course get up all your dots on everyone, the tank boss, and yeah, damage the boss and try to see if your damage actually can hold up the tank. If your damage is not enough for actually holding up the tank, you always have your Shadow Mend that you can spam, and it heals 10k all the time. So it's a really good and quick way to get someone up in full health on short time. Also you have your pain suppression, your cooldown. So if you put it on someone, 3-minute cooldown, 40% of all damage will be reduced. So it's 40% taken reduced. So instead of 10k damage, they will only get 6k damage after you put on suppression. So that can actually help you. Also you have your Power with Barrier that removes 35% of all damage, or for everyone in the party, and it doesn't have any maximum of how much damage you can absorb. So for, how long is it? 10 seconds, everyone in here will only get, well, you can say 35% less damage. Also, if you're close to dying, you have your Desperate Prayer that you can use on yourself that will heal you, and it increases your health by 25% for the next 10 seconds. You also have a talent that it really have saved me a lot of times. You have Rapture. So Rapture is doing that every time you spam Power with Shield, it actually increases by 200. So right now you can see it's 20k absorption. If I didn't have Rapture on it, it will be 6k. So Rapture is really a nice talent. So in a mythic dungeon, if everyone is dying, use Rapture, quickly shield everyone, and they will have a shield that is mostly 20-30% of their own health. So that's a pretty cool thing. So also you can keep in mind, you can always put Power with Shield on who needs healing over time, but I would not as standard spam Power with Shield on everyone, because Power with Shield is actually quite expensive in mana. So if you just keep spamming Power with Shield on everyone, then you will go out of mana. You can see on myself right now, my mana is actually going quite fast down. Now I'm down to 89. So okay, I can cast it quite a lot of times before I actually go out of mana, but still in a hard boss fight it will be hard. Now I'm down at 80. So, but if you need that, you can say AoE healing for everyone. If you need healing for everyone in your party, use Power with Radiance, because it heals everyone and it also gives everyone the atonement. So every time you deal damage, they will get healing over time, like now. So try to keep up Power with Shield, not keep it up always because it doesn't have that much absorb, but just keep it on your tank so he has atonement. So it's very important to hold atonement on your tank, and try with spreading out Power with Radiance a little bit, so everyone in the party also have atonement. That means everyone in the party will get healing. So I think that's pretty much that. Use your Power with Shield to get atonement on the target, or give them a little absorb shield. Use your penance on the tank or party members if they need a lot of health, but if it's not a lot of health, use it on your damage rotation. And just a quick last one, on bosses, when you have used Power with Radiance, so everyone has a Torment on it, use Purge of the Wicked on the boss and just spam Smite and Power with Solace and Shadow Fiend. Use those 3 spells in your damage rotation and you will deal most damage. The only reason you should use Penance is when your Power of the Dark Side is actually proccing, so it deals 50% additional damage, because your Smite is actually dealing more damage than Penance over the time. So you can see boom boom boom. I know that every time you use Smite here, as you can see right now, you can see the Smite here deals, what deals it? 3k damage, and my Penance is dealing 5k damage. And in the time I can cast 2 Smites, I can only cast 1 Penance. So you can see Smite is actually dealing a lot more damage. But Penance is nice if you have to move out of something on the ground, and then back to spamming Smite. And always remember to use your Smite and Power with Solace and Shadow Fiend. Those 3 spells is very important in your damage rotation, and your Purge of the Wicked. And keep in mind, when you use Smite, you actually does so the next 8000 damage deal will be absorbed, and it stacks. So every time I use my Smite, you can see, okay, now I already have it on the top. Oh, we actually increased it 9000. But that means you can spam Smite on the boss, and the damage he will then deal will be absorbed. So your Smite is healing everyone that has a Torment on them, and also it deals damage and absorbs the damage that he's going to do on the tank. So when spamming Smite and have a Torment on your people in the group, you can actually kind of hold them up. So yeah, I think that's pretty much covering the stats, talents and rotation. Again, the rotation is really up to you how you play it, but again, keep up your torments of your group and try to deal damage. And again, if you like to be the holy priest, the resto druid that is just standing in the background and healing, and you don't have to really attack, then this discipline priest is probably not for you. Discipline priest is very much for the person who likes to deal a lot of damage and also heal. You have to be much more active than a normally healer, I would say. Yeah. As you can probably see, I just forgot that. You can see here that when I use my damage over time, sometimes because of my passive here, Power with Dark Side, sometimes my damage over time has a chance to increase my penance by 50. So every time you see the dark thing around me, you have to use your penance because it's increased by 50%. That's pretty much. Yeah, I think that's all. So thanks you guys for watching. If you have any questions about Discipline Priest in PvE, leave down a comment. If you think I said something wrong, well, tell me. Else I will never be better. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much all for me for this Discipline Priest guide. So thanks you guys for watching and have a great evening.